True. Nervous. Very, very dreadfully nervous I had been and am, but why will you say that I am mad?
Imagine someone just grabbing you by the shoulders in a dimly lit room and whispering that right into your face.
Right. They aren't trying to prove they're innocent of a crime. They're desperately trying to prove they aren't crazy.
It's really one of the most unsettled and, well, unsettling openings in all of literature. You are immediately trapped in a corner.
Yeah, trapped with a narrator who is intense, terrified, and clearly unreliable. I mean, if you have to start a conversation by insisting you aren't mad, you're probably on shaky ground.
That is the understatement of the century. But this is the beauty of Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart.
Exactly. And in our deep dive today, we aren't just analyzing this text like a textbook. We're going to try to actually experience the atmosphere of this so-called perfect crime.
Because we aren't just reading a story. We're being forced into the perspective of a killer. A killer who believes their heightened senses are a gift, not a symptom.
Right, this disease that sharpened the senses, especially hearing. They claim they can hear things in heaven and in the earth and things in hell.
Which is frankly a terrible superpower to have if you want a good night's sleep.
It really is. But we need to understand the logic of this mind. A mind that claims to be perfectly sane while calmly describing a cold-blooded murder. I invite you, the listener, to just step into the dark room with us for a bit.
It's a profound study in obsession. Because when you look at the motive...
Well, that's the first hurdle, isn't it? Usually in true crime or these dark stories, there's a reason. You know, money, jealousy, revenge.
Or a crime of passion.
Yeah.
But here, the narrator explicitly dismantles all those standard motives, strips them away one by one.
No object, no passion, no desire for gold.
And the part that really adds a layer of tragedy to the horror is the relationship.
Yeah, the narrator says, I loved the old man.
It's completely paradoxical.
They admit the old man had never wronged them, never given them an insult. So we have a narrator who genuinely loves their victim, yet decides to end his life. Why?
Because of a physical attribute. A single, solitary detail that the narrator just cannot look past.
The eye.
The vulture eye. The text describes it as a pale blue eye with a film over it.
Like a cataract or something.
Most likely, yes. But to the narrator, it's not a medical condition. It's a source of visceral, almost supernatural terror.
The physical reaction is intense. They say that whenever the eye fell upon them, their blood turned cold.
It's like a physiological allergy to being watched. And this is where we get our first major psychological insight. To kill the man he loves, the narrator has to perform a mental gymnastics routine.
Fragmenting the person.
Exactly. He has to separate the man from the eye. He convinces himself that he isn't killing the old man at all. He is killing the evil eye.
Destroy the vessel so the eye can't look at him anymore. It's a defense mechanism to totally bypass his own conscience.
Right. It's surgery, not murder. Removing a tumor that unfortunately happens to be attached to a kind old man. And this brings us to his main argument for his sanity.
The method.
Yes. He believes madness is defined by chaos. So he points to his own caution. He says, look at how calm I am. Look at how well I planned this. A madman cannot plan like this.
He equates method with health. And the method he describes is terrifyingly disciplined.
Let's walk through that setup, because this is where the narrative becomes incredibly cinematic.
The narrator describes the week before the murder. And I have to say, if I were the old man, this dissimulation is the part that would haunt me.
Being extra kind?
Yeah, he says, I was never kinder to the old man than during the whole week before I killed him. It's pure predator behavior, lulling the victim into a false sense of security.
The mask of sanity. But then we get the nightly ritual.
This feels straight out of a horror film. Every single night at exactly midnight, he turns the latch of the old man's door.
And the emphasis here is on the slowness.
Yeah.
The absolute patience.
He moved his head into the room, but he did it so slowly that it took him an entire hour just to get his head through the opening.
Try to hold your arm out in slow motion for even 5 minutes. The physical control required to take an hour just to move your head, it suggests a state of hyper-focus that borders on a trance.
And he's doing all of this in pitch blackness.
A room black as pitch with a thick darkness. He has a dark lantern, closed up tight so not a single sliver of light escapes.
So he stands there, in the dark, listening, and then he unlatches the lantern.
Just a tiny crack. A single thin ray of light shoots out, like the thread of a spider.
He aims it right at the bed, at the eye. But for 7 nights,
Nothing.
the eye is always closed. The old man is asleep.
And because the eye is closed, the narrator cannot do it.
Which proves his psychological block. As long as the old man is just a sleeping figure, he's the man the narrator loves.
The evil isn't present. So the narrator simply closes the lantern, leaves the room, and the next morning walks in with a warm voice and asks the old man how he slept.
It's chilling, but then we reach the 8th night.
The atmosphere completely shifts. There's a sudden surge of hubris. The narrator feels powerful, triumphant even.
He says the hands of the clock moved slower than his own hand. He's bending time. He's drunk on his own stealth. But then...
A mistake.
a tiny slip. His thumb slips on the tin fastening of the lantern. Clank.
And suddenly the old man shoots up in bed, crying out, "Who's there?"
Now, normally, this is where the killer jumps out. But the tension just hangs there. The narrator doesn't move. He freezes.
The room is pitch black.
For a whole hour, I did not move a muscle.
And the old man does not lie back down. He sits up, straining his ears in the dark,
Yeah.
listening to the death watches on the wall.
The silence must have been suffocating. And then, the narrator hears it. A groan from the old man.
A groan of mortal terror. Not pain. Pure terror.
The narrator says, I knew it well. He's felt that same terror when waking up in the middle of the night. He recognizes the sound of death approaching.
It's a moment of deep empathy, but warped by malice. He pities the old man, yet he chuckles at heart. He knows the old man is trying to comfort himself, saying, "It's just the wind, it's just a mouse."
But it isn't, because death is standing right there. So, after the long wait, the narrator decides to act. He opens the lantern.
A tiny imperceptible slit, and the ray of light falls exactly on the damn spot.
The eye is open. Wide, wide open.
The narrator grows furious as he gazes upon it. Just that pale blue eye floating in the dark.
His blood turns to ice. But then the focus shifts. We've been completely focused on sight, the eye, but now his diseased hearing kicks in.
He begins to hear a sound. A low, dull, quick sound.
Much such a sound as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton.
It's muffled, but it's incredibly rhythmic, and the narrator immediately interprets this sound.
He believes it's the beating of the old man's heart, driven by absolute terror.
Now, we have to pause here. Is it actually the old man's heart? It's possible to hear a pounding heart in a dead, quiet room, but the narrator claims it's escalating.
It gets louder and louder, like a drum beating faster and faster. He thinks the heart is going to burst.
The external sound is driving his internal panic, and suddenly, his fear shifts away from the eye.
He's terrified of the neighbors. He thinks this heartbeat is so incredibly loud that a neighbor is going to hear it through the walls.
The heart becomes an alarm siren. The anxiety peaks. He can't take it anymore.
He snaps, he yells, bursts into the room, "Die! Die!"
The old man shrieks once. Just once.
Yeah, and the narrator drags him to the floor, pulling the heavy mattress in bed right over him.
It's a suffocating, brutal end. And then the tension drops. The waiting game resumes.
He just stands there, smiling, listening to the heartbeat on, muffled under the bed for many minutes.
Waiting for the battery to run out.
And eventually it does. The beat stops. He checks the body. Stone dead.
The eye will trouble him no more.
Mission accomplished. But the night isn't over. We have the concealment. And here the narrator sounds completely clinical.
His pride in his own cleverness returns instantly. He talks about the dismemberment of the body with zero emotion, cutting off the head, the arms, the legs.
In a tub. He's so intensely proud of the lack of a mess. He says there was no blood spot, whatever. A tub had caught all.
It's horrifyingly pragmatic. And then he pries up 3 planks from the floorboards.
He deposits the remains down between the scantlings, the wooden beams, and replaces the boards so perfectly that no human eye could ever detect a flaw.
Not even his own. By 4 a.m., it's still dark and he's completely finished. And right at that exact moment,
The bell rings.
the police arrive. 3 officers. A neighbor heard that single shriek and suspected foul play.
If I were the killer, my heart would be hammering out of my chest. But the narrator.
Absolute total calm. He opens the door with a light heart, thinking, what do I have to fear?
He invites them in. He explains the shriek was his own bad dream. He says the old man is away in the country.
It's a performance. He leads them all over the house. He invites them to search well.
And then the ultimate hubris.
He brings chairs right into the old man's bedroom.
He places his own chair explicitly over the very spot where the dismembered body is hidden.
He is literally sitting on his victim while chatting pleasantly with the police. He's taunting fate.
And for a while, it works. The officers are satisfied. They sit, they chat, they smile.
But then the physical betrayal begins. The narrator starts to pale. He gets a headache. He wishes they would just leave.
And a ringing starts in his ears.
A singing. He
Yeah.
thinks it's just in his head at first. He tries to talk through it, raises his voice, talks more fluently.
But it transitions, it gets clearer and deeper until he realizes the horrifying truth.
The noise is not within his ears,
It is in the room.
and it's that exact same
A
sound.
low, dull, quick sound, like a watch enveloped in cotton.
Now the old man is dead, dismembered, hidden under the floor. His heart cannot be beating.
So what is he hearing?
It could be his own heart. His adrenaline is spiking, his blood pressure is soaring. In that quiet room, his own pulse might sound like a drum in his ears.
Or it's a pure hallucination, his mind totally fracturing under the weight of the guilt he insists he doesn't feel.
He starts to panic. He talks louder to cover the noise. He argues about trifles.
He's spiraling, pacing the floor with heavy strides, foaming, raving.
And the officers, they are still just sitting there, chatting pleasantly, smiling.
He grabs the chair, the one right over the body, and drags it across the floorboards, grating the wood to make noise, anything to cover up that beating.
But the sound just gets louder, louder, louder.
He looks at the police. They are still smiling. And to the narrator's paranoid mind, there is only one logical explanation.
They must hear it. It's impossible not to hear it. Therefore, if they are smiling,
They are making a mockery of his agony, they know.
he calls it derision. He decides that anything, even execution, is better than sitting there enduring their hypocritical smiles.
He completely snaps. He screams, "Villains! Dissemble no more!
The ultimate confession.
Tear up the planks! Here! Here!" It is the beating of his hideous heart.
And with that scream, silence falls on the story.
It's such an abrupt, jarring ending. We don't see the arrest. We don't see the aftermath. Just the total collapse of his reality.
Because the entire confession was meant to prove his sanity. But it inevitably documents the exact moment his sanity failed him completely.
The irony is just brutal. He killed the man to silence the eye. He hid the body to silence the evidence. But he was completely undone by a sound that wasn't even there.
Which brings us back to the title itself, The Telltale Heart, whose heart is actually telling the tale.
Is it the old man's ghost, beating from beyond the grave?
Or the narrator's own heart, a physiological betrayal driven by hidden guilt.
Or just a complete fabrication of a deteriorating mind?
That ambiguity is exactly why this narrative has gripped readers for nearly 2 centuries. We are left trapped in that room with him, and even after the planks are torn up, we don't actually know if the sound ever stopped for him.
That is a deeply unsettling thought to leave you with. The police look down and see a crime scene. The narrator hears a relentless heartbeat. 2 entirely different realities existing in the same dark room.
And we're left somewhere in the middle. It certainly makes you appreciate the silence of your own house.
Or maybe it makes you suspicious of it. If you're sitting alone in a quiet room right now, you might want to listen to the silence.
Just hope you don't hear a watch wrapped in cotton.
Exactly. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Take care and keep your senses sharp.
But perhaps not too sharp.